Miss Rachel Keller.
Hi.
Took a while to get you here.
I know, it's been a minute.
We're here at 9 a.m. or 9:30.
Yes.
It's an early one.
It's an early one.
It's the first one that I usually make cocktails for people. But
you were going to try to make a cocktail
I
for
was,
us,
and
no.
I was like, I don't know, I'm trying to buzz at 9:30. I was like, maybe we could do it.
Yeah.
But I was like,
nah.
next time.
Yeah,
We're going
next
to have
time.
you on again.
Next time. So coffee it is.
Coffee it is. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So,
Ooh, blue bottles.
yo,
So good.
we've known each other for 2 years-ish,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you were like a client at F45 when I met you, right?
Yeah.
And like you kind of had this like whole fitness journey, like full circle, right? Because like, did you want to be a trainer at that time when I met you?
I don't think so, because right around that time, I think I was still with my last job. So
Which was what?
It was a general manager for a company called Shake Smart, which was a great company. It was like protein shake smoothies, acai bowls, so I know how to make a great smoothie.
Hey, that's what's up.
But yeah,
Honestly,
I was just a client at the time.
That's good for I guess like planning your nutrition.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, for clients and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
and it taught me a lot about nutrition, which
How so?
I majored in public health, so I've always been very interested in health and fitness. But with Shake Smart, taught me how to make a protein shake and make it well, and using agave, like frozen fresh fruit. So that way it's like, you know, the healthiest way you can make a smoothie and get the protein in.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about protein from that company, and how to make good, easy, quick meals on the go. That's basically what there is.
What's your go-to protein shake?
With all the ingredients?
All the ingredients.
My favorite is usually I do a few ounces of cold brew coffee, then a few ounces of almond milk.
Coffee.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then
that's new.
And then you add frozen bananas, almond butter, a little bit of Greek yogurt, cinnamon. Boom.
What's the coffee for? I'm intrigued.
It gives a little pick me up.
Really?
It's like a healthy frappuccino, and then protein powder, obviously.
I feel like those flavors would like mix weirdly.
No, you got to try it. It's so
Yeah?
good. Yeah,
Okay.
it was like my hands down my favorite recipe that they had.
Yeah.
We just like shook it up with protein powder instead, and it was the bomb. I had it almost every single day.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what's
good.
up. So what inspired you to, I guess, like start this like fitness journey, not just to like I guess transform yourself and who you are in your body and probably your mental state, just because like mind and body, in my opinion, like pair very well together, pair hand in hand.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do that?
I feel like I lost my way a little bit with my last job. I have always been very interested and committed to fitness my whole life. As a previous gymnast, like my entire life, I was so disciplined with gymnastics. Then I went to cheer through
What
college.
type of gymnastics did you?
I did the traditional gymnastics.
Okay.
So I did beam, vault, bars,
Up
and
until
floor.
what age?
I was 15.
Oh, so that's still.
Yeah, so I did it
that's
from
going
2
hard.
years old to 15. So I was like in the gym every single day for 5-6 hours a day.
What did gymnastics teach you that you still like hold to till this day? Because usually I feel like in those developing stages, like you learn a sport, you usually have some sort of memory or some sort of experience that is either like traumatizing or like that makes you have a certain work ethic too, that is like at the end of the day is beneficial for you in the long run and to like who you are as an adult.
Oh yeah. It taught me a lot of discipline, I will say that. And you know, as you get older, it's discipline
so?
in different areas, but with discipline with gymnastics, I had to be there every single day from like 3 to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And you kind of learn how to try new things, and if you fail, you keep trying and you keep going until you perfect the skill. And gymnastics is so much about technique and skill and just repeating it so many times until you perfect it. That's why gymnast form is so incredible when they're on all of their events.
Sure.
So learning that discipline, anytime I try something new now, my immediate response is almost to want to give up because you like feel like you're failing, but that's what keeps me going and wanting to try new things. Like I love exploring new things and trying new things, learning new things because I think of my experience with gymnastics. Yeah. It was great. I loved doing it as a child. I think I just hit a growth spurt when I turned 15. I was super short, like under 5 foot my whole
I was
life.
about to say, you're pretty
And now I'm
tall,
tall.
for a gymnast.
Yeah, and now I'm 5'9", so my body couldn't work with me as I was going through that growth spurt. So then I moved on to
these
cheer.
flippy floppies.
Yeah, and then I moved on to cheer thinking it was going to be easier, and it definitely wasn't.
Sure.
I did competitive cheer, so it's still a very intense sport.
Can you explain what competitive cheer is for me? Because like for someone who's not in that like world, it sounds just like professional pom-pom flipping and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And which is what it looks like to the general public, which is totally understandable.
Sure.
But competitive cheer, which is considered like club, I guess, you're doing a 2.5 minute routine with flipping, stunting, choreography. It is the hardest 2.5 minutes ever. Like a lot of people end up throwing up at the end of the routine because it's that hard. And you're doing like 2 back handsprings to a full and like running, going to the next thing. So it's nonstop for 2.5 minutes. So the term full out is like the term of death basically as a cheerleader, because you're like, oh my God, I have to do this full out. But you know, in cheerleading, it was a lot of fast pace, working as a team. So it was very different than gymnastics, but I was able to take my tumbling skills and technique through to cheerleading.
I bet that benefited you so heavily.
Oh yeah. The second I walked into tryout without shoes as a cheerleader, they were like, well, 1, you need shoes, but 2, your tumbling's so fantastic. Like, please join our team.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, so it was awesome. But I did that through my last few years of high school. Yeah. And you're on a stage too, so it's all about presence. So similar to dancing, you have to have the whole look. You know, you have to be presentable, but also be doing flips and tumbling and stunts and trying to make it as visually pleasing as possible. Yeah.
Why do you think, I guess I compare it to dancing, why do you think it's so pleasing to the eye or to the mind of like symmetry of movements? You know, because like you see these towers for cheerleaders, right? They're like equally, and the choreography is all symmetrical. You see 3 people dancing doing the same thing versus 1. It's way cooler. It attracts your attention more. What do you think that is?
Yeah, I think it's because the number of people adds a huge visual element. Like if you were to watch a band on a football field, it's way more impressive when they're doing that visual transition as a team, because it's very hard to coordinate that many people to do that many different movements going in a specific direction versus just one person. You know, and as one person, obviously it's great to watch, but it's more appealing to the eye to see a bunch of people doing the same thing, because I think, you know, as a human, how much practice it takes for them to get that skill.
I feel like some people don't though, but they just find the pleasure in seeing it.
Yeah,
you know?
it just is cool. Like even as a cheerleader, my parents, you know, they supported me at my events and stuff. They watch your routine. They have no idea how difficult it is, but they think it looks cool. So they're like, oh, that looks really cool. Like they have no idea like the time that it took to practice that move, make sure it doesn't fall, like it hits. Because a lot of the time with cheerleading, if your stunt falls, if your tumbling falls, obviously that's a huge deduction, you know, but you have to take so much time to practice it over and over and over. And a lot of people get nailed in the face or they get knocked out. Like my nose got broken in high school.
It looks straight. It looks good.
Thank you. But I got elbowed in the nose right before a cheer routine backstage, and I was like bleeding and bruised, and within 5 minutes I had to go on stage to perform that routine. Yeah, there's no stopping in cheerleading.
Dang, you're a savage.
Yeah, it's what it is in cheer. You just kind of do it. And if anyone's seen the Netflix show Cheer, that gives a very good representation of what college cheer is like. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Before you continue on your story of how you got into fitness and inspired there.
Yeah.
Going back to like you said, doing hard things, right? And developing these skills, but there's always like a point where like you want to quit, like you said. I guess what advice do you have to people who like hit that like wall, right? Because like that's a shitty point, like learning any skill, you know, like I guess for fitness you could describe it there, but I guess in any skill, how do you break through that? Like for someone who's like developed skills and hit so many walls through like cheer and gymnastics and repetition over repetition.
Yeah, I think it's just all about mental toughness and consistency, and that's something I struggle with in fitness, and I think that's what inspired me to come back to fitness. Is kind of lost my way, but I wanted to challenge myself in new ways. And as long as you're challenging yourself, you're going to hit roadblocks here and there. You know, it's all about climbing up the mountain. And once you get to the top of that mountain, there's another mountain to climb. Like that's one of the quotes I've heard recently. And I was like, that sticks so well, you know, once you get to the top of one, you climb to the next. So it's just all about keeping your mindset right so you can continue going. And if you hit that roadblock, take a second to breathe, maybe reflect on what you can change to make it better, or how to keep going to motivate yourself, but make sure you stay mentally strong, because your mind is going to want to try to talk you out of doing things, because our minds fight against each other sometimes. But keeping going and just staying driven to get to wherever you're trying to go.
Yeah, you said consistency and mental toughness. I guess consistency is easier to do just because you have to, you just repeat the same shit, and by doing it, you're going to get better at it. But I guess that mental toughness part, like, how do you develop that?
I think it takes time. I've been somebody who's been trying to build that over time, and I've been building mental toughness by just writing things down and trying to stick to a to-do list. So using that discipline that I've learned, trying to come back to that, to build on that mental toughness and not get discouraged if things go wrong. You want to try to keep staying strong. So that way, toughness is not only physical, but it's mental. And I say that while I'm coaching a lot of classes, that you're not just building physical strength when you're doing a fitness class, you're also building mental strength to push past those barriers when your mind's trying to tell you, I can't do this, I'm going to stop, and just keep going through that. And that's how you kind of break past those barriers, because that's how your muscles build. You have to push them to failure. You have to push yourself to failure in order to build toughness moving forward.
It's such an uncomfortable feeling, because even as trainers, we take a class or we do a workout, and we still feel that feeling, and like, I mean, like, I'm guilty of it sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to stop 5 seconds before that timer ends, I mean, I don't want to, but the feeling when you complete the workout to the fullest, to what it's meant to be, and there's some feeling of accomplishment there.
Oh yeah, it's the best feeling. I would say that's like the reward that you see once you finish a workout. Like, I don't think, I'm going to say this, but I don't think there's a person that has ever told me they regret doing a workout after they finish it. And there's something to be said about that, because you release your endorphins. It's a boost of confidence that you did that and it was tough, and that's going to take you into your next workout or whatever you're trying to do to build that mental toughness and just build consistency. They go hand in hand, I'd say.
I think you're blessed there. I've definitely had a few clients who are like, I hated that workout, I don't want to do this.
But they still show up later on.
They still show up,
they still come back. So, it's just all about continuing on and not stopping even when you think you should or want to. It's about what you need to do, not what you want to do.
100%. I love that. All right, so after cheer, what's the next step?
After cheer, I finished that in college.
Where did you go to college?
San Diego State.
Okay.
Yeah, and I majored in public health. I cheered through college, which was an exciting experience. That was a cool experience, because that was the rah-rah style cheer, where you got to cheer on the football team, the basketball team, but it's also competitive, so you do both. So it's like a
win-win. How was that experience, I guess, like, because San Diego State's a pretty big school. Yeah. And, like, the stadium's really big. There's a lot of people, and like, I guess you're in front of the lights and everything. How did it feel to be in front of all that many people?
That's a very interesting topic, because I've been an introvert most of my life.
You keep saying that, but you're very good with people.
And I think it's because I've challenged myself to go for extroverted, like, tasks, I guess, per se. So when I was a kid, my mom had to introduce me to kids on the playground, because I would not go up to them. I was super shy, super quiet. Even if you meet anyone I met in high school, they'd be like, oh, she never talked, And so after high school, I was like, no, I got to change this. Like, I don't want to be introverted my whole life. So now I'm an ambivert.
So it's something that you didn't like about yourself.
Yeah, it's something I didn't like, and it's something that I wanted to change. So that's why I went into cheerleading, because you're on a stage, it's a presence. So that challenged me. I started waiting tables. So that was another challenge for me, to be able to talk to people that I didn't know.
Honestly, that's one thing that I believe any human should experience in life. Like, even if it's just for a few months, like, experiencing hospitality and waiting a table, like, dealing with all types of people who could be super kind or a dick, whatever, and you just have to, like, save face and be like, you got it, sir. You got it, miss.
There's so many times that I've, like, been fucking so mad at them on the inside, but I'm like, what would you like? You need another ranch? Okay. But yeah, that was a good experience too. I loved waiting tables through college. It taught me so much, and it taught me to be more talkative with strangers and just have small talk, and also grind, because you're nonstop going when you're waiting tables 100%. Or bartending. But that was the second thing that I think helped pull me out of my shy self. And then now I'm a fitness coach, which is also a stage presence per se. So
you're on stage.
So those are all things that I wanted to work through. So now I can be very talkative with people that I meet for the first time and know how to hold a conversation, because before I'd be so shy and I lacked a lot of self-confidence.
Yeah.
So it helped me build a confidence. Even if people think I have a lot of confidence on the outside, I might be freaking out on the inside.
Sure.
So I can put on a safe face.
Yeah. And now Rachel's in LA filming a podcast. And
Yeah.
easy peasy.
Look at me now. There's something to
Look
be
at
said
you.
about being in Los Angeles, man. It's definitely an opportunity for entrepreneurship.
Yo, it's inspiring.
Yeah, it really
I feel
is.
like all our friends they inspire me.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's doing something out here that is challenging and it's for themselves, you know, and regardless of what society thinks, like everyone supports each other.
Yeah.
I know it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And, you know, my last job actually brought me out here because their location is at CSUN.
Okay.
But I wasn't going to ever move to LA if it wasn't for that. So I'm very blessed that
Oh,
job
that's the
brought
reason
me out
then.
here. Yeah. Because otherwise I probably wouldn't have moved out here. I probably would have caught myself in a 9-to-5 corporate job forever. And it wasn't until end of 2020 I lost that last job with Shake Smart.
Because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and they like cut back, and I actually got fired from that job, which was like a huge kind of like mental reset for me because I broke myself down a lot because of that job, and losing that job, I felt like it was something I did, which to an extent it was,
Sure.
but I think the universe put that in front of me as that's not for you anymore. You need to go down this route and chase what you're passionate about. So it took me a lot of time to kind of self-reflect and figure out what I wanted to do, which is what led me back to fitness and led me here.
Sure.
So I wouldn't be here without all of those, you know, things that happened in the past.
Were you staying fit like this entire time? Because obviously gymnastics is like a very physically demanding. Cheer is very physically demanding. And did you continue to work out like after college? And so
No,
forth?
that's
Okay.
where that gap came in, where after college I graduated, moved into a pretty full-time position that took a lot of my time. I completely lost my way with fitness.
With the smoothie place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
person.
was with them for about 4 years, from 2017 when I graduated. Yeah, it was a long time. From 2017 when I graduated, and then I stayed with them, and I was able to travel with them, help them open new locations. So it was a constant grind. It was
this kind of corporate?
yes, kind of corporate.
So
Yeah.
it's like you had like 9 to 5 hours typically.
Typically, I had a little bit more flexibility just because I was doing a lot of admin work from either home, or I was running around getting inventory for the store, or I was at the store handling employees. I handled all of that at that store's location.
What's the company called again?
Shake Smart.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
they're really
guess-
great. They're all over college campuses now. So
That's what's up.
yeah.
I guess what did you learn from you're one of the rare ones of our friend group who's like experienced that corporate side of like life, you know? And I guess like why don't you want to do that anymore? Because like I see the benefit to it in the sense that it's kind of monotonous. You don't need to worry about like your next paycheck type of deal, and you don't need to grind for like I don't know, like a gig for dance or a movie or a show or waiting tables or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
You're just like, you kind of check out after, you relax at the end of the day, and you have your weekends off. Like, it sounds very romantic to me, but also it sounds awful, you know?
It's definitely a toss up. And I think it all depends on like the type of person you are. And I liked that experience. It wasn't even strictly 9 to 5, that job.
Okay.
So it was somewhat corporate, but for the most part, I was kind of working for the most part, like 12 hours days.
Okay.
Because he was an entrepreneur who started this company, and I worked very closely with the corporate team. Was only 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
So I helped them open locations. So I didn't necessarily do 9 to 5, but there's no way in hell that I'd be sitting at a desk for that long and be able to focus. Like, I have always been very busy, so I like doing things, even if it's like I'm better at organization and all of my tasks when I'm super busy and have very minimal time to do.
Busy people are better at things.
Yeah.
That's really it.
So I've just realized that I'm not a corporate person. It was a great experience,
Sure.
but I'm more of an entrepreneur and I want to be my own boss. And that took some time for me to realize, because I was like, I really don't want to go back to a job where I have to report to somebody and do all of these tasks for them to make a ton of money when I could do it myself for something that I'm passionate about. And it took me some time to find my passion. But once I got back into fitness, I was like, this is what makes me feel alive.
Yeah.
This is what makes me light up at the end of the day, and helping people through fitness to build their strength and build their confidence and work past those mental barriers.
Yeah.
That is my calling. Like, that is what brings me so much joy.
I love that.
Yeah.
For Shake Smart, what do you call it? did you learn anything about business that is, I guess, like helping you build your business right now?
Oh yeah. Since I was kind of close with the corporate team, they passed off a lot of business tasks per se to some of us general managers who were with them for a while.
Sure.
So, I did a lot of, sometimes I did Excel sheets. Sometimes we did really just kind of one-off tasks. Like I built some graphic design stuff for them. I did a lot of like social media campaigns. We did ways that we can improve the stores. So the business that I learned from them was the introduction to my business, because I didn't know anything about business before that. I was a public health major, so like, health and fitness, they kind of go alongside. Business was so foreign to me. It's like I didn't even know what marketing was. That word was like, oh, okay, I've heard that word, but I have no idea what it means. So I learned a lot about marketing through Shake Smart, how to build your business development, research and development. So it was great to have it, and it was kind of like my starting point for where I am now.
Yeah, I feel like that's a benefit to like working for another entrepreneur or a company, especially if it's like smaller, because I feel like it's a fast track or a shortcut to when you want to start your thing. You know how to do certain business tasks.
Oh, for sure.
For me, I didn't have that. And so I Googled everything, YouTubed everything. You're asking anyone, like, that's one thing I love about bartending. If someone tells me they like own a business or anything like that, I just ask questions.
Oh yeah.
Just like, tell me what you know, dude. I want to find out.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that you got to work with these people, because like right now, like Excel's hard.
It's really hard.
It's really hard. I don't know how to use it, And
I even took an Excel class in college, and I still had to Google things about what formula do you need for this and that.
Yeah, it's a science. Like people will hire other people to just do Excel for them, for their whole company for $100K a year. So like the people out there who don't know what they want to do and they just want to make money just as a job, you could just learn a skill, get really good at it, and then work for someone else. Yeah. That's really it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Excel's not for me. If I had the money to hire someone to do Excel for me, I would. But, right now we're just Googling and going along with
eventually we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why so many people hire, accountants and whatnot, because it's a lot of numbers, it's a lot of Excel, it's a lot of keeping track of data, which is not always the most appealing, but some people love it. So if that's what your passion is, then power to you, because you're in a good sweet spot that nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, I have a buddy from my hometown who talks about like accounting, like art. It's really it's like really cool what people are interested in. Like, how we're talking about your passion for like fitness and helping other people. He's talking about this enthusiasm about numbers. And I'm just like, dude, you're weird.
Yeah, it's like, I love finding people's passions though, because it's so interesting to see what really makes people feel good and feel confident or good about themselves. I guess it's interesting. Everyone has a different set of skills that they like really tap into.
Yeah, and it's cool because like there's no way that anyone learns every single skill in the world.
Oh no.
So like everyone's different, and I feel like if you could pair good quality skills with other good quality skills in other people, you just build a good community and just build up together. What I'm saying?
Exactly.
So during this gap, before you get back into like training, how do you get back into fitness? Like you're at this job, you got fired, now you're at a low point, right? And so I guess what's next?
So this is where F45 comes in.
Okay.
So we were on a trip in Pennsylvania for opening up a store at Penn State. Okay. And they're very good with working out. They're like CrossFit goers, so like they go ham,
Where?
Shake Smart, the corporate team. Like we try to make group workouts together.
Okay. But you didn't work out that much.
No, I didn't work out that much because they were in San Diego. I was in Los Angeles, so I was more of like a remote general manager.
Okay.
Everybody else was down there, so it was more of, I was kind of working on my own a little bit,
so
but
were you
reporting
working from home?
Yeah, partially.
Okay.
And then the other time I was like working in the store, making sure my staff were doing their jobs because they're college kids, making sure things stay rolling and keep the numbers climbing. But we did a group workout and they introduced me to F45. Some of them had done it before and I had heard about it, but I never done a workout. So we did a F45 workout at Penn State. And the first day I did it, I was like, this is my jam.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I was like, had tried.
What was the feeling like? Like, were you dying?
I was dying. I was dying.
Like my first F45 class, I was on the floor. I was heaving.
It was dying, but it was like that's what I was so used to with cheer and gymnastics, you know, like pushing yourself to the edge.
So it's like it was a familiar feeling that you haven't had in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And going to the traditional gym just wasn't for me. I didn't like showing up and one, people staring at me, trying to share machines, and then two, having to think of my own workout and structure it. I would just, you know, it was like you were just killing time on your phone. I wanted something that was structured, in and out in 45 minutes, which was perfect. So F45 was exactly what I needed to get back on track. Ever since then, I'm not a huge morning person, but ever since then, I had woken up at 5:30 in the morning to go work out at 6 before we went to work at Penn State. And that was the key to me, telling me that this was the best thing I needed, because I would actually get up in the morning and go do a workout before a 12-hour workday.
I was about to say, you wake up early all the time now.
Yeah, and now I wake up early all the time. And I actually struggled with that a lot my entire life. Like, I'm known to be the person that snoozes their alarms 3 million times. Like, ask any of my friends, they'll make that joke. But now I actually enjoy getting up and coaching the early morning classes at F45. So F45 was my introduction back to finding structure in my fitness routine and fitness, you know, regimen that I actually enjoyed doing, and I wanted to go work out. I wanted to be there in the group setting and having that structure of a different class each day, using different equipment. It was just phenomenal. It was my favorite thing.
This was all at Penn State.
Yeah, this was all at Penn State. So that was when I first started really getting back to working out consistently, like at least 3 or 4 times a week. And before that, for 4 years, I was working out less than once a week.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I tried running, I tried traditional training at the gym, just nothing really like stuck with me and that I enjoyed. And the second I did that F45 workout, I was like, damn, I wish I knew about this earlier, you know? And then I got a lot of my friends into it. My sister, who's also a gymnast and also did cheer, she's just been following my footsteps all along.
That's nice. That means she looks up to you.
Yeah, no, she does. I love her. Shout out Kiana. But I introduced her to, another Kiana.
Another Kiana.
And also my boyfriend's sister is named Kiana. So many Kianas that I know.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild. I don't know any other ones besides
I know,
Kiana.
right? Now I know 3.
That's what's up.
But I introduced her to F45, and then she became an instructor as well.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and she loves it. She still does it all the time. So I think maybe it's just our gymnast or cheer nature that, you know, not everyone's going to like a HIIT training style workout. It's definitely very intense and it's fast paced, but I think it's what fulfilled my desire for working out, and it was familiar to me after I got a few classes in that you go super hard from start to finish and then you're done. You know, there's no questions in between, no time to think about what you're going to do. You just go.
Yeah, I feel like F45, in my opinion, it's the best workout in terms of in and out and in terms of cardiovascular and movements too. There's a lot of weird movements in F45 that you develop, like the shoot throughs, you know, or like sprawls or I don't know, like you're working with CrossFit equipment, but it's not necessarily CrossFit too. And you're burning 500, 600, 700 calories within 45 minutes. Yeah. You know, so if you're trying to lose weight and you're just trying to burn some calories, it's where it's at.
Yeah.
It might not make you the most jacked looking human in the world. Yeah. But like, if you're trying to lose weight, it's a really good spot to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's where just most people struggle with losing weight. You know, they might not like a HIIT style training class, but if they come try it, for the most part, they end up enjoying it because it takes the thinking out of working out. Yeah. They just go and do it's set up for you, and you learn how to use certain equipment, so it makes you feel more confident, and you also, you know, torch your calories. So yeah, you're not going to get super jacked because you can only, you know, lift a certain amount of weight in 30 seconds or however long the set is. Sure. But you learn body awareness and how to use certain muscles and how to activate, you know, the backside of your body and, you know, like deadlifts.
You hope so.
Yeah, you hope so. There's times, you know, where people come in for their first time and they're like, you know, look like a scared dog, but it gets more comfortable as they go.
I feel like it's more comfortable for someone who hasn't worked out to go into a class setting than into like a gym, like you said. Yeah. You know, especially in LA, the gyms here are really crowded. Like compared to my hometown, it's like you're waiting 20, 30 minutes for a squat rack.
Yeah, that drove me crazy.
You know? And especially being a female at a gym too. Like, I went to 24-hour fitness for a little bit, and yo, like dudes are creepers over there, especially to hot females. And I was like, yo guys, come on, like you haven't seen a girl before, calm down.
Yeah, no, seriously. Equinox is even worse. I swear it's like the pickup scene, at least the one that I went to.
Okay.
But I know there's a ton of locations, but the one in particular that I went to, I don't know if it's because it's on the west side or what, but it was bad. I literally had my headphones in, and I obviously am not wanting to talk to anyone, like zone in. Someone still came up to me and tried to hit on me, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to be really nice to you, but I'm in my zone right now and you're interrupting. Yeah. You know, so yeah, that was the one part about. I literally drove to LA Fitness and I couldn't find parking. So I literally left because I was like, this is not how I want to do.
I've done that multiple times.
Yeah, because it's just so annoying to have to deal with those things beforehand.
Sure.
So if you're have convenience of proximity with a gym or a location and it's set up for you and you don't have to think about it, that's I think the key to get people to come work out, because it takes out the annoying stressing part about it.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be hard, you know.
Going off on a tangent, tell me what you think about this. So I used to hit on some chicks at the gym too, but I was like, I don't want to be that guy who like people hate, you know. So that douchebag, like gym bro. So I don't want to interrupt people, right? But like you say you find this like person attractive. So I'd write my like phone number on just like a piece of paper, and I'd go up and like I'll tap your shoulder, even if you have headphones. She'll look super annoyed, right? She'll be the Rachel in this situation. And I'll be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't want to interrupt you. Here's my number. I really find you attractive. I love to get coffee or lunch. Here's my number. And then I'll walk away because it puts the ball in her court.
Yeah.
I'm not interrupting her. Yeah. And there's no like rejection, because like the worst thing that happens is like she doesn't text you. Yeah. So. Yeah.
No, I'd say that's a very respectable way of doing it. Yeah. That's very nice because, you know, there's also, I would say, even trying to work into a machine with a girl to start, just kind of like inching your way in, you know, and then kind of just start casual conversation. But if she has her headphones in, obviously she's not trying to talk.
Yeah, she's not trying to share that machine.
Yeah, exactly. Dudes. And, you know, I give guys credit because they're always the ones that have to make the first move usually. Yeah. You know, girls don't usually shoot their shot, but guys always have to shoot their shot, and they have to get turned down so many times for it to finally work. So
it's shitty. I feel like
guys have to get good with rejection. That's for sure.
I feel like if they don't try like a lot and if they don't get any successes for a long period of time, like I feel like dudes like get stuck in their hole, and that's why there's like people in their 40s and 50s who haven't found a chick. It's like girls, like
most of the guys in Los Angeles.
Yeah. I mean, not most, but a good amount. Yeah. Like the what's that? The 80-20 rule. Oh. 20% of guys get 80% of girls. 20, you know, like that rule. It's just like it's real.
I thought you were talking about with nutrition.
Same thing.
Oh yeah. Thing. Okay.
It's like with everything.
Yeah. You know, that rule goes around everywhere. That works.
It does work. So back to you get an F45. Yeah. And I guess you're starting to love your body again, get into fitness. And when did you start coaching? Like, when did I meet you at this? Like, how did you start working out at F45 Studio City?
So they were going to open, I think at end of 2020, it was where they were supposed to open that studio. And then at the time I was still traveling a lot for work. So I actually bounced around a lot of different F45s. I like took the free trial for a lot of studios, but you're not supposed to do that. But anyways, that's how I got familiar with like a lot of different studios.
You told me you took Sherman Oaks as well. Like you were,
I coached there first. Okay. So since Studio City wasn't open yet, actually this is before I started coaching. Studio City wasn't open yet. Yeah. So I kind of waited for them to open in order to start going there. So I think they opened in January 2021. And then, February, then I was just a member there for the first 6 months, which is while I was unemployed. And this is the time while I was figuring out, like, what do I want to do with my life? Do I want to go back to a corporate style job? Do I want to try to pursue a business? And my boyfriend's very entrepreneurial. So, you know, he's trying to tell me. King. Yeah, shout out King. Maybe he'll come on the podcast one day. He taught me a lot, too, from a business perspective and marketing perspective. But he was so entrepreneurial that it kind of inspired me to be like, this is something I'm capable of. Yeah. Because before, I think you're in a very limiting belief about yourself of what you're capable of. And that's why sometimes people lean on corporate jobs, because either one, they don't want to start a business, which is, you know, power to you. If you have a skill and you just want to use it and get your paycheck, like you were saying, then great. But then there's the other side of people that I don't think that they can ever start a business.
Yeah,
It might be in the back of their head,
Yeah.
but they don't think that they're capable.
I think it's the way we were wired growing up, especially like if you had parents who worked like those types of jobs. How do you believe that you could do those things, or how did you do it for yourself? Because there's a lot of people out there, a lot of like maybe young girls who like fitness, right, and want to be a trainer, want to become a Lagree coach or like whatever, and they're just like, I can't do that. Like I'm not meant to do that, you know?
Yeah, well, I think I try to share my personal story a lot about that, with just losing my way with fitness and then finding F45 and then really being inspired to start coaching because it made me feel alive. And then lo and behold, starting my own business. I think it was sharing that personal story makes me relatable to people who may be going through the same thing, and trying to encourage them that you can, because a lot of the times our minds are telling us that we can't. And if you can have somebody on your team or on your side trying to encourage you and saying, yes, you can, like what's stopping you, which is exactly what King was doing for me. And it just inspires you to really want to push the limit and try something that it might be uncomfortable and it might be very challenging. Like we were talking about, for the first year of business, like you don't really see any revenue come in. You know, it's a lot of grinding really hard, and you're basically doing it for free with maybe a job on the side that's paying the bills. But, you know, it's really like, starting from the ground zero and watching it build is really cool experience.
It's like you plant that seed, right? And you're going to keep watering it, and it might not fucking grow until year 1, year 2, maybe even year 3. You know, so many businesses, like you don't know when that growth is going to happen, but you got to stay in it for a long period of time to witness it.
Yeah. And I try to teach that to people with fitness too. You know, so many people want quick and easy results so quick. And I'm like,
lose 30 pounds in 3 weeks before my wedding. I'm like,
you should have came back to me like maybe a year ago. Yeah, I know. It's like, there's nothing you do in life is fast. Maybe if you get lucky with the lottery, great. But anything worthwhile is going to take a lot of time. And that's where consistency, mental toughness, and patience all come in, because you have to be extremely patient and continue going even when you're not seeing, you know, maybe some revenue come in, or if it's not feeling like it's working. You just keep powering through those moments, and it makes you so much stronger mentally to just really push past any trouble that you might encounter when you're going through life.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good story. I like it. F45 is a lot more meaningful to you than it is.
Yeah, and that's why it always holds such a special place in my heart,
it
you
does.
know?
I understand like your care for it now.
Yeah.
It's
and that's
beautiful.
why it's there. Yeah, it's just like something that really inspired me to kind of kickstart my life and find fitness again. And that's why I'll always love F45. It's like my firstborn child, you know?
And you just started coaching at Lagree in Studio City, right?
Yes.
Can you explain what that is?
Yes.
Because I guess before you and Claire got certified for Lagree, I have no clue what it is. I always saw reformers in like Pilates studios, and I took my first Pilates class last month. It was fun.
Where was it at?
It's in West Hollywood. I forgot what it's called. It's called Soul Pilates or something like that.
Okay. So yeah, there's a huge difference between Pilates and Lagree.
Okay. Can you define each for me?
Yeah. So Pilates is going to be on a reformer machine.
Okay.
So usually it has straps, you know, a head bar. There's a ballet bar at the end. That's usually the cue that it's a reformer. It looks more wood style-ish. Pilates is going to be more about flow. You're working, you know, muscles kind of similar to yoga in a way. It's about flow, moving along your body, getting that movement, finding connections between your core and getting strength in those little muscles, and also working mobility and flexibility. So it's just a little bit slower pace than Lagree, which Lagree was founded off the idea of Pilates. So it's on a megaformer machine, which looks it looks similar to a reformer, but there's a lot more components to it. There's heavier springs. You're using a lot more resistance. There's high bars. It kind of looks scary when you look at it, but there's so much that you can do with it. And there's a ton of different versions of a megaformer, but Sebastian Lagree, who is the creator and founder of the Lagree method, he was inspired by Joseph Pilates, which was started back in the early 1900s during like the Spanish flu. It was meant to get people.
Oh, it's been around that long?
Yeah, Pilates has been around a long time, and this is what I learned through Sebastian. He trained us when I first started training and getting certified, and he taught us that Joseph Pilates started it way back in the day to basically get people moving and out of the depression, because I think it was around that same time. And then Lagree, he was inspired by that to kind of make it a little bit more difficult to appeal to a larger group of people. Because Pilates is definitely a lot more women like it.
Oh, me and Kev were the only dudes in every Pilates class.
Yeah, you get one or two guys every once in a while, but usually it's mostly women.
Yeah.
And they're just, fine tuning. A lot of dancers really like Pilates.
Yeah.
It's great for the body. But Lagree is taking it to the next step. So basically...
So it's like Pilates on steroids.
Yes. And it's still low impact.
Okay.
The point is we're going super, super slow. And you're trying to build more muscular endurance. So
what are the things on the Megaformer machine that the Reformer does not have?
the Megaformer has high bars on the front and back.
Okay.
So you can put your hands on it. And it has S straps. You have a front component, front platform, a back platform.
Okay.
You still have your straps where you can use for upper body and whatnot. But there's just a lot more particular movements that we do in Lagree that you don't necessarily do in Pilates, and vice versa. So they're both great workouts. One is just a little bit more for muscular endurance. One is more about body awareness, trying to get movement flow. You'll still really torch in calories, just depending on which class you're doing. But if you go to do a Lagree class, specifically maybe mine, you will burn probably just as many calories on this machine that you would at like a HIIT class.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, and I've taken Sebastian's class and he torches me. Like if you start shaking in class, which is a good thing because you're working your muscles to failure, you start shaking in class.
That's using muscles, I believe, that you don't use anywhere else.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You're building like those slow twitch muscle fibers, those little muscles that we never use in our body, and they can easily be missed in like traditional training. So we go super slow and you're drenched in sweat. Like that is the goal for me. I'm trying to get you to shake and I'm trying to get you to sweat by the end of the class because it completely transforms people's bodies.
Why did you decide to go to, I guess, that route in fitness? Because I would say like Pilates is still bigger than Megaformer, right? Just
yeah,
like
for sure.
Worldwide. And I mean, I feel like I've been in the fitness industry for a very long time, and for me not to hear like I found out what Lagree is through you is like it's still pretty like small niche.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, what inspired you to go like I'm gonna be a Lagree coach?
No, and that didn't happen until I showed up for the training and realized that there was a huge difference, because before I called it Pilates every single time.
I remember in the beginning.
Yeah.
You said, oh yeah, me and Claire are like gonna get Pilates certified, and it was just, and then I think like it was not even barely a month ago or a month or two ago.
Yeah.
I was like, what's Lagree?
Yeah. No, we learned that, they are very different, because before we thought they were about the same.
Okay.
You just kind of, a lot of Pilates studios, they started with Pilates or are called Pilates, but the machines that they have in their studio are the Megaformers. So it's supposed to be a Lagree class. So now we're just trying to train our brains and trying to teach other people that there is a difference. They are one inspired is by the other. So you can get a very similar workout. One is just going to be a little bit more intense. So anytime people have said, oh, I've done Pilates, so like this is my first time here, but I've done Pilates before, we're like, but have you done Lagree? And they're like, what's that? And so it's like you don't really know what you're getting into until the class is done. And I've had clients come up to me after and they're like, what the hell was that? In a good way. Like, I've never felt my body work like that before. I've never felt that type of burn before. And you can kind of get that in Pilates, but it's just a little bit more intense in Lagree. So that's why we try to separate the two and teach people that Pilates and Lagree are similar but not the same.
What made you do Lagree versus Pilates?
I showed up to the certification, and learning from Sebastian was really inspiring because
He's the founder?
Yeah, he's the founder, creator. He started it, the whole thing. He still coaches too, so you could go take one of his classes and they're gnarly.
And he lives in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
He coaches at the West Hollywood and Brentwood location.
Okay.
So I wanted to do Lagree because I was doing Lagree already, and I thought I was doing Pilates, but it wasn't Pilates. So I was like, oh, okay. And I had done a Pilates class before, so I had asked some instructors, what's the difference? Because I've noticed I'm on two different machines. And then they explained the difference, and I was like, oh, then I need to get certified in Lagree, not Pilates. And with Pilates, there's so many different certifications. It's not like...
Yeah, there's like mat Pilates too. There's like...
Yeah, exactly. So usually you get certified by the particular studio that you want to work at.
Okay.
And they give you their certification.
Sweet.
So they're all different, very similar ideas, but Lagree is obviously different because, you know, it's its own thing. So they're trying to build that up, which showing the difference of the two.
Yeah.
So I work at a studio called Megaformer, which is named after the machine that we're on.
Sweet.
And it's the Lagree method.
Okay.
So a lot of Pilates studios are doing the Lagree method, but the name of the studio is like Pilates Plus, or, you know, all of the Pilates names that there are around there.
Sweet.
Yeah, even I brought my sister and her boyfriend up this past week, and they took my class, and my sister has done Lagree before, and she was even like, that was harder than any class I've ever taken.
Oh, that's crazy.
So even in different instructors, yeah, it's great. And your body will feel so good. I've heard people who have had hip pain, knee pain, especially me as an ex-gymnast. I've had all the aches and pains in the world, and I'm not even 30 yet. So I just knew my body was going to break down much quicker. And Lagree has taken away any of my aches and pains.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to prescribe it, but I recommend Lagree for everyone because it really strengthens those inner core muscles. So people's back pain goes away. Yeah. It's like the most relieving fitness class you could take and not feel like depleted afterwards, you know?
Like your body doesn't feel destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's low impact still, you know? You're just going really, really slow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What do you call it? So at this point, have you started your business yet? Like when you just started teaching Lagree? The
idea was there, but I hadn't launched the business yet. Okay. So I launched my business this past year in January.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like website and everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which, you know, takes a lot. It takes a lot on the behind the scenes. So I had been working on that for probably 6 months to a year prior to really announcing anything about it. It had been in the works, but I was building it up.
Have you ever personal trained before?
One-on-one, I had done like few personal training here and there. I'm certified in it, but I really wanted to do more virtual online clients because I really wanted to be able to reach more people who maybe aren't local to Los Angeles, specifically because I have a lot of friends or family that I want to help in their fitness journeys, but I'm not local to them. So, you know, I really wanted to give them the opportunity to be trained by a personal trainer, maybe for a more affordable cost, but also still have somebody to rely on to help critique their form, give them workouts like the structure that most people want, or nutrition guidance, helping with macros, stuff like that, to really keep them on track.
Keller method?
RK method, yeah.
RK method.
RK method,
I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that idea came behind the idea of combining multiple styles of training into one, because I don't think fitness is a one-size-fits-all type of deal.
Sure.
I think some people prefer, you know, weightlifting, heavy weightlifting. Some people prefer HIIT. Some people like Pilates. Some people like spin. You know, there's quite a few different ways that people can challenge their bodies. So my goal is to create a method that is suitable for a lot of people, that incorporates quite a few different styles of workouts, and I cater to you about what you like and what you enjoy and what makes you happy to move. Because that finding that key is what made me come back to fitness, is finding something that I enjoyed doing. And even though it was hard, you know, you don't necessarily always want to work out, but you do it and you continue coming back to it. That's the key to finding consistency in fitness, I think.
That's what's up. So a little toughie for you. There's a lot of personal trainers in Los Angeles, right? It's a very saturated space. And there's a lot of successful personal trainers out here, and there's a lot of not successful personal trainers out here. I guess what makes you so different or valuable that someone should train with you versus someone else?
I think my experience and my passion for wanting to help people is what sets me apart, because I think there's a lot of personal trainers out there who, you know, maybe look the part, but when it comes to making that personal connection with somebody, it's that missing component. And, you know, with my discipline with gymnastics, cheer, and now moving on to fitness, I even lost my way as a normal human being with fitness. So I had the experience there, but what sets me apart is how did I find my way back to it in my normal day-to-day life in adulthood? Because, you know, as a kid, I had my parents pushing me to go to gymnastics practice, or, you know, telling me to go do this and that. But as you become an adult, where's that motivation to continue going? Maybe if you have kids or if you have a really busy work schedule, how do you find the time to make it work in your schedule that's already so busy? So
Sure.
I like to teach people how to work their fitness into their lifestyle versus just trying to make them go work out. You know, I want people to enjoy working out or find enjoying moving their bodies, because it is such a blessing and a privilege to move our bodies that a lot of people take for granted.
A lot of people.
You know, and it's something that we all take for granted so easily that I want to try to find that link to bring people in to find an enjoyment out of fitness and not just like a task or a chore that they feel like they have to do.
Sure. I guess you said you're trying to find a unique method for each person so that they could like build consistency and grow over time. I guess like what style of working out would you give just any of your clients? Because you can't ship over a mega reformer machine, a reformer machine to a client in who knows where, you know? And so like, even though they might want to do that, for example, so like, what are some exercises or movements, or what type of training do you do? Is it like an F45 style workout that you're trying to give your client, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, so there's a few things that go into figuring out what I think fits best for each client. I usually take their age, any previous sports that they played, or if they didn't play any sports at all, because that kind of gives me a sense, okay, do they have more body awareness? Are they used to going pretty hard and being pretty disciplined in sports?
Yeah.
Also their work-life balance, if they have kids, you know, if they're a parent, all of those things come into play. And usually if someone is pretty new to fitness, I usually do a lot of body weight exercises to help build up that strength. And then they can add dumbbells and whatnot. I'll do some strength training because I do think strength training is a huge component to help build resistance and longevity in your life, and it helps continue challenging you. But I like to make sure people have access to that equipment as well. So, you know, if they don't have a gym that they like to go to, if they don't like to go to the gym, I'll give them something that they can maybe do from home or on their own, so they can feel comfortable building their strength without the pressure of going to the gym. Or if they like going to the gym, I'll give them a structured workout and a bunch of different equipment to use, so it's very nice to kind of keep it different. So you're making
something based on like what they have. It's not like a cookie cutter method that it's just like, this is a program that I created and I'm just gonna send it to you regardless of who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the cookie cutter method too is, you know, I have that option if people are just wanting some workout, some structure. Like I have a guide that's, you know, it's already written out for you. So if you're just looking to move your body and do it from home, that's already there. But if you're looking for me to give you a personalized training program, then I can train you one-on-one to really break it down to find all of those components that will make you go work out and enjoy doing it.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But it takes some digging into, you know, someone's mind of, okay, what have you done before? What worked? What didn't work? So I do a lot of questionnaires in the beginning to kind of figure out what's going to work for the both of us.
I feel like nutrition's a huge part of that too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you call it? So I know you said you were in gymnastics and you were in cheer, right? And I feel like those sports growing up in the decade that you did those things, there's a lot of pressure from society to look a certain way, right? Especially for gymnastics and maybe cheer. I don't know too much about cheer. And I guess, what was your like relationship with food during that? And like, how are you using, I guess, that mindset during that time, if you had it, to like help your clients develop a good relationship with food? Yeah,
I definitely dealt with that. But cheer is very heavily, I'd say even more so than gymnastics, about how you look, because, you know, you have to put on the makeup, do the hair, everything's like a presentation. So a lot of people dealt with eating disorders through cheerleading, and I wouldn't necessarily label mine as an eating disorder, but I definitely didn't have a great relationship with food. Especially in college. I feel like in San Diego and Los Angeles, there's a lot of beautiful people here. And, you know, like you could be maybe a 10 in your hometown. You come here and you're like a 4.
Yeah, that's a saying. Like I've seen so many quotes like that. It's like a hometown 10 is a LA 5.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very similar like that in San Diego. So even being as a cheerleader, you're in front of a ton of people. There was a lot of people who dealt with eating disorders. So I even kind of went through it myself where, you know, I restricted myself quite a bit. And I remember the year specifically, I looked very, very small, but I was restricting myself so much. I was like tracking my calories and everything I was eating, and it was going into my Fitness Pal, which for some people, if they're trying to learn the basics of nutrition, I think is a great start. But I really discourage my clients from tracking everything they're eating, because I think it builds a very unhealthy relationship with food, because you almost get obsessed with it. And then everywhere you go, even if you're going out with friends to eat at a dinner, you're worried about what you can choose on the menu, because you're constantly thinking about, oh my God, am I going to go over my calories or my fat or my protein? Like all of those things are running through your mind. So I try to encourage my clients to do the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time they're eating very healthy. And, you know, I have recipes that I've given clients to help show them what a healthy meal looks like, or what to avoid. Like, a lot of people don't realize salad dressings or sauces and condiments are the awful parts to your meal.
Get some oil and vinegar, guys.
Oh yeah, exactly. Or they're drinking their calories, like all the sugar that's added in sugary drinks.
Gatorade.
Yeah, Gatorade, exactly. You know, I learned Gatorade, you know, we would drink Gatorades every single day and freeze them in gymnastics. And then I learned that you don't necessarily need a Gatorade unless you're like really dehydrated.
Yeah.
Even then, it still has a lot of added sugar in it.
I mean, I love a Gatorade right after like a really, really high intensity like workout.
Yeah.
But like people who just be drinking Gatorade
on a daily,
Yeah, on a daily. I'm just like, yo, that's just as bad as a Coke, bro.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And people don't realize that. I try to teach my clients to look at the back of the labels too. If they're going to eat something that's not, you know, raw food or like fruits and vegetables, I try to teach them to take a look at the back, look at what the ingredients that are in the label, and also take a look at the breakdown of the nutrition facts. Is there a bunch of added sugar? Is there a bunch of sodium? Because usually if the calories are low, they add it in either sodium, sugar, or fats. Like that's some places where a lot of companies try to market their
low calorie thing.
Low calorie thing. And that was where public health came in handy for me. I took a class specifically on like food nutrition, and they taught me all about that, because before I didn't know really too much about it. I was always a healthy eater, but if you're eating stuff that's, you know, packaged, it's important to look at the back, because companies will market you on the front saying it's low calorie, gluten free, and then on the back it's a bunch of crap that you can't even pronounce inside.
Tracking food's awful. I mean, I've tried it multiple times, and it's
also exhausting.
Yeah, it's. I would go to. It's hard to eat out. One, it's like you're like, oh, it has 5 too many fats. Like I can't have this, or I don't know. And like for clients, for personal training, most people don't want to like worry about tracking going out to eat or at home or weighing food. It's just not sustainable. I always revert it back to like, look at the history of time. Man didn't shoot a bear or shoot a deer and be like, I'm gonna weigh this and this is the amount of calories I'm gonna eat. Oh wait, these berries are really sick, let me weigh them real quick. Like that didn't exist. And some of these people were really fit. They just moved more.
Exactly.
They just moved more.
And that's the difference is if you're living a very sedentary lifestyle, which most of the time people are, especially if you're in a corporate job, you're sitting at a desk all day. That's why I'm like, I'm the steps person. I'm like, you should try to get your steps higher. Even if you're just walking around or doing something at your desk, like doing squats into your chair, standing and sitting, or have a standing desk, which has become really popular with COVID. Just try to move your body more, because that's where that LISS cardio comes in, which I incorporate with my clients too. Low intensity, steady state cardio, where you can go for a walk for a longer period of time.
Walking is underrated.
Yeah, it really is. Walking or even just like an easy hike. It's not easy, but you're burning, you know, you're tapping into a different set of fat burning areas of your body when you keep your heart rate slightly elevated for a longer period of time. That's what's really going to transform your body as well.
What's your favorite movement for working out if you had to choose one movement?
For some reason I always really like kettlebell swings, lateral shoot throughs, which I learned all of these things through F45. But I think those components remind me of gymnastics in a way, because you're doing a lot of moving with your body in a weird way that most people, it's hard for them to grasp how to do it. But kettlebell swings,
hard to cue up for sure.
Yeah. I love anything with legs, honestly. Legs are my favorite. Most people don't like legs, but I like doing deadlifts, staggered split squats, and single leg deadlifts, I'd probably say are my favorites right now.
All those fives.
Yeah, all those fives.
Just like all of them.
Not even, I can't even pick one. Anything with legs.
I like it.
Yeah. Because I used to hate my legs growing up. I was always built very strong and muscular. And growing up as a girl, especially back then, now it's more popular to be strong and fit. But back then it was very like skinny as in skinny. I could never fit into skinny jeans no matter how many times I tried. Hollister and Abercrombie. yeah, it didn't fit. My legs were too thick. I was thick-thighed. But, you know, I learned to love them and found that I'm so strong and I need to just use my strength to my advantage, because most people can't use strong legs. Like they're trying to build their strength when I already have this in my genetics. Gifted. Yeah.
Why do you think I guess like skinny was like beautiful like in that era? Because like it's really weird like looking at
skinny fat is a thing.
Well, I know, but like back then like models who had ribs showing, right, were like beautiful. It's like the Cover Girl magazine. And like I think I was attracted to that type of body during that time. But like I'm not now. Like I love guys and girls. Like I appreciate a really muscular dude. I'm like, damn, bro, you're hot.
Yeah.
You know, or a girl who's like really fit and like, or like has a little bit more weight on, but she's super muscular. I appreciate that. You know, but I guess like, what do you think transferred that definition of beauty from the skinny girl to like a really fit, strong person? Yeah,
I think there's two things that really contribute to that, and I think it's trends, which trends come and go. Back in the, you know, between 2000 to probably like 2010, maybe 2012, I think skinny was in because that was in the media quite a bit. And, you know, as much as they don't want to say they do, celebrities have quite a huge impact on people and what they think is popular, what they think is not popular, you know? So what was in the media at the time was a lot of very skinny women or high fashion models that were, you know, kind of glorified for their skinny bodies, which some people are built skinny, and that's, you know, power to them if they're built really naturally lean. But that was the only thing being represented in the media, or, you know, what people saw on the internet. And I think the trend of that faded away when social media broadened out quite a bit more, and there was more, I don't want to say normal, but, you know, people on the other side, not celebrities, that were like, wait, I'm not built that way, so am I not valuable? You know, and they lacked a lot of confidence because they weren't skinny. But now that social media, people are kind of portraying their lives and showing their true selves. That authenticity has been such a huge, beautiful trend in the nicest way, because now people are trying to show their true colors or be authentic and show up as themselves, whether that's skinny, muscular, thin, fat, whatever it is. I don't even want to say fat because it's not a very positive word, but, you know, just maybe a little bit overweight. I think it's all about confidence and how you feel your best. Doesn't matter what size you are, but back then skinny was glorified, so I think that's why it was so popular back then. Now strong is glorified, or curvy, you know, those two things are a little bit more glorified now, which is great. But, you know, now there's people on the smaller side who are trying so hard, eating so much food and working out so much to build strong muscles. So it's all about the trends of what is trendy at the time. It's because crazy. Like beauty trends come and go all the time. It's like fashion, you know? Yeah, like eyebrows, thin eyebrows used to be in. Now thick eyebrows, bushy eyebrows are in. So it's just what you appeal to, I guess.
There's a lot of girls who just like want big legs now, and so they're just like, how do I get that? Like I coached this class yesterday, and this girl hasn't done like a squat or chest press in like years, and she was struggling, and she was just like, I want to be strong again, like and develop these muscles. And it's like really inspiring, but it's also weird because like for so long they're okay with this because this is like what is popular. Yeah. And rather than what is good for me, how do I feel best in my body?
Exactly. Yeah, it can be hard because I think women in general, we're always trying to chase what we don't have. We can't just like, for example, I was built very I don't want to say big boned, but very muscular. Even if you look at me as a 3 or 4 year old kid, I literally had quads. Like, it looks
Really?
like my parents put me on steroids.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find mine.
So, you know, I was built that way, but growing up, all of my friends, they weren't really working out. They didn't really need to. They were kids. They
Sure.
didn't play sports, and they were very skinny. And I wanted to be that so bad. Like, I'd literally do anything to have skinny legs. Like, I've even known girls who used to tape their legs smaller because they wanted skinny
real.
legs. They wanted the thigh gap. The thigh gap used to be back in the day. It used to be very popular. Wanted the thigh gap, so they'll like turn your legs out, push your butt out. All these crazy things,
What?
you know, as a girl that
That's
girls
real?
would do. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, and you know, it's like, why do we do these things to chase something that is maybe not built in our genetics? So as I got older and went through my self-reflection stage the past few years, I realized these are some things that I might not be able to change about my body. So why fight against it my entire life when I could just learn to love what I have? So I try to teach that to clients too, that maybe you're not built to be small or big. Just train your body to enhance it and challenge your mind more so than your body. Because yeah, you'll build a lot of physical strength, which is great.
Yeah.
But what also follows along with that is mental strength and building that confidence and in correlation with physical strength.
Yeah. People just don't pay attention to that part just because, like, they believe that that's not as important.
Yeah.
When in reality, like, if one grows, the other will too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the piece that a lot of people don't recognize is, you know, like if they're trying to fit a certain weight or size for their wedding, it's like, well, why don't you work out because you want to feel better mentally about going into your wedding instead of stressing yourself out versus trying to put a certain standard on the size that you want to be to fit into this dress or look a certain way. Yeah. It's just, you know, it's the toxicity that I think we have. I think males deal with it too. You know, there's a lot going on with, they have to be super big or super muscular to feel manly, but it's just embracing the body that you were given and enhancing it and challenging it and seeing all the ways that you can get stronger.
Yeah, no matter how hard I try, I will not be an NBA player.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, why try to work against that when you can do things in your favor? And look, you're a businessman and you're an entrepreneur and you've built all of these wonderful accomplishments too, and you're a personal trainer. So
we're getting there.
Yeah, it's like, the height is a huge thing too, because that's really something that you cannot change.
Short kings, baby. Short kings.
Yeah, and you know, my boyfriend, we've talked about this, but he played football in college, and he was on the smaller side. Sure. So, you know, he thought that was a limitation, but he was fast as hell. You know, he would do anything he could to work against what maybe not was something that people looked as a disadvantage.
Yeah. I always tell people, I'm like, yo, I'm chilling on a plane ride. For anyone who's tall, you guys, good luck.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and you know, I always wanted to be short too. That like, I'm tall now. Yeah. And I just wanted to be short. Like, I hated being the tall friend. Like, a bunch of girls were around me and I'd be towering over them. For whatever reason, my brain wanted to hate that about myself.
5'9"'s not that tall in LA though.
There's
a lot of tall girls.
There's a lot of taller girls, yeah. But all my friends were like 5'2".
Yeah.
So I'd be like this in pictures, you know, trying to like make myself
it's like
smaller.
Foreheads cut off.
Yeah. And then I'm like, why am I trying to make myself smaller? Like, most people
want to be taller.
Yeah, they want to be taller. So it's all about perspective and how you look at things. The grass can always look greener on the other side, but it's green where you water it.
100%. I love that. What are you most excited for in your life right now?
I'm most excited to continue coaching Lagree classes. I really enjoy that right now, and seeing how my business grows and how I can help people in the future, no matter age, size, whatever. I'm excited to kind of make people excited to work out and see where that takes me in life. And I just feel so much more at ease knowing I'm doing something that I love versus being stuck in a job you hate. If you're stuck in a shitty job you hate, God damn it, leave that job.
Change it up.
Change it up. That's what it's all about, challenging your life. You only get one life, so why sit at a desk that you hate? Yeah. If you love your job and you're at a desk, then great, power to you. Stay with that job.
Shouts out to all the accountants who appreciate it. That's
For all those people who love your corporate job, I'm very happy for you, and I'm glad. If you don't like your job, whether it's a corporate or not, leave the job. Yeah. It's not worth your sacrificing your life and your like quality of life to stay in that job.
What does helping people physically as well as mentally do for you?
It makes me feel alive, and I struggled with a lot of anxiety and depression the past few years, and, you know, got really, really lows that I would never want people to experience or witness. And fitness brought me that sense of purpose and feeling alive again that made me want to continue going. And I had a lot go on this past year with my mom. She got diagnosed with melanoma, which was a very scary experience. Thank God she's still here. They got it removed. But she was also a very motivating factor in wanting to get my mom's health back in track and show her, you know, when you start training and strengthening your body, you can work off a lot of these things that maybe happen to us as we age, you know, with breaking down or dealing with menopause or maybe getting cancer, any chronic illnesses. Fitness can really help control that and make you feel worthwhile in your life and bring a sense of confidence and strength back to you that maybe you never experienced or lost your way, just kind of like I did. Makes me feel really good. Makes me feel like I did something right.
Yeah, I feel like helping people is like the ultimate currency. It's like, obviously you are going to charge these people because you need to make a living.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was like, the way, for example, for me, I had a client when I was at UCLA and I was training over there. And the reason why I got so many reps in from personal training is they gave workers' comp personal training sessions for UCLA employees.
Oh, that's nice.
So I would get like 10, 20 clients a week, like new people. And there's this one guy who stayed with me.
More companies need to do that, by the way.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's good for the entire system.
Morale, too, of the whole company.
Yeah. And so basically, like, this one guy, he's 350 pounds, and he lost like 50 pounds with me within like 3 months. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. He was like, dude, I could walk up the stairs. I could carry my kid. And I was like, oh, that's dope. And I had like this one guy, I guess he's a young man now. He had Crohn's disease at like 13, 14. And like, we developed his workout program and diet to like where he's like a healthy man now. And he doesn't have a sign of Crohn's anymore.
Oh, that's amazing.
You know? And like, those feelings for me do so much more than like the monetary aspect of it. Yeah. Because like, for me, I'm trying to transition out to like a more like business model in terms of like podcasting and growing this bitters company. But like, there's something so valuable in personal training that helping these people, whoever they are, and bettering their lives and helps you, gives you some sort of currency. It's like it's hard to describe.
Yeah, it's something that's really cool to experience. And coming out of college, I thought I was going to go into nursing school. So I've always had a desire to be of service to others. I think it's just in my nature. I love helping people. And I was going to go to nursing school. I didn't get into nursing school. I wanted to go to UCLA. Go Bruins. I love UCLA. It's always been my like dream school. Yeah. But I didn't get in. But I think it worked out well because I learned a lot about health in public health. Okay. But it directed me down a different path to end up where I am now. So now I realize public health is a lot more about preventative health. When you're dealing with people in a hospital or as a doctor, you're dealing with people who are maybe already diagnosed or finding diagnoses for their illnesses. With fitness and public health, you're preventing, and that is more important so you don't have to end up at the doctor.
I hate it because in reality, I feel like personal training and mental health, the things that you're talking about, should be more valuable, and the dollar amount should be way higher than it is now, if you think about in that aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, so many people will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in debt to fix their health. Versus, like, what if you never had to do that?
Yeah.
What if you just checked your boxes off before getting unhealthy?
Yeah, exactly. And I think as humans, we're, in a sense, natural procrastinators, or we wait till the last second and then it's too late. So, you know, people don't realize the things that they can do ahead of time to prevent these things from happening. And it doesn't hit home until they get a herniated disc in their back or their doctor tells them they have really high cholesterol, high blood sugar. Those are the types of things that make people be like, oh, I should probably go to the gym. But at that point, you already got diagnosed. So why don't we take 3 steps back and plan ahead and get yourself on a good regimen and schedule to build better habits so that way you'd never have to deal with those things, hopefully.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah, takes time to get people to realize that, especially if they're not used to doing that their entire lives.
Yeah, it's hard to, I mean, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
It's just you have to be
Exactly.
open-minded.
Yes.
You know?
Open-minded.
For business, you know how we were talking about just like how you want to be an entrepreneur, right? And I guess you are doing the thing. For me, I feel like there's a big imposter syndrome that I don't want to define myself as like a businessman or an entrepreneur until like you make it, you know? And like, I guess for you, like, I love that you're so confident in saying it. Like, you're like, oh, I'm a businesswoman, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm doing the thing. And like, do you think that that's the right way to just be confident in saying, like, identifying yourself as those things, because that's technically what you're doing now? Or like, was my way a better way? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think there's one right way or another, but I've definitely felt imposter syndrome too. I feel very confidently that I believe in manifestation. So I believe your future plays out how you say it will. So I try to think of my life as I'm saying to myself what I see myself doing in the next 5 or 10 years. So I agree with you. You know, it's hard to say you're a successful businessman or woman without seeing the money roll in, but that doesn't mean you're not necessarily successful, because you've already taken the first steps to get there.
Sure.
And you're going to continue going until you get there. So I would say you are a businessman or woman as you are now, because a lot of the times we don't enjoy the journey. We just enjoy the destination.
Yeah.
So the journey of becoming a business or entrepreneur is doing just that. Like, you are a businessman or woman.
Yeah.
It's just the journey to get there is going to take a little bit more time.
Yeah.
But as long as you set your mind to it and you keep going, I think you can manifest the biggest dream life that you can possibly have.
And no one's ever satisfied. Like, the thing is, like, for the biggest...
It's a good and bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, for the biggest time, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like, I want to be a personal trainer. I want to start this business, right? And you're like, oh, I want to do this. And then you did it. And you're like, okay, I'm still dissatisfied now. What's next?
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it's like, oh, I want to start this podcast. And I'm like 70 something episodes in. I'm just like, okay, like, how do I make it bigger? And I was like, for the longest time, dude, you just wanted to start. Why are you like,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think that's important to continue chasing something greater,
Sure.
because I think that's how we grow and get even more successful as we get older.
Sure.
But I think there is an important aspect that you do need to take a step back, self-reflect, and be grateful for the journey that you've already had in your past.
Yeah.
All the steps leading up to what you are now or what you're doing now, I think are so important. Like, that's why I try to look at my past. I could look at my being fired from my job as a biggest mistake of my life.
Yeah, victim mentality.
Yeah, exactly. But instead, I'm trying to look at it as a beautiful experience with that job that taught me about business. It was my introduction. It brought me to LA. It was in my introduction to the corporate style world, but it taught me so many things. So, and it was also a blessing from the universe to be able to open myself to the business aspect or as an entrepreneur and branch out into the fitness world. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been here.
I know.
So it's a journey.
Yeah, and you just don't know where it's going to take you.
Yeah, exactly.
Closing up, what advice do you have to, I guess, like, young ladies out there? Because to start a business, to break through that wall and do the thing that they've always wanted to do in the back of their head. Because I guess being a woman in society, like, it's right now, it's starting, like, it's very inspiring what you're doing, right? To a lot of young women out there who you're starting your own thing. It's a jump, and you don't know what the future holds. You know, it's not very predictable.
Yeah.
You know, and there's business in, I guess, that light as a woman is relatively new within the last like 20, 30 years, 40 years-ish, but it's still relatively new. Like, men have been running businesses for hundreds of years.
I love a good badass woman CEO.
I love it. It's dope. 100%. It's very inspiring.
Crushes it.
So I guess for you, like, what's your advice to those young ladies out there?
I would say be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because the more times you put yourself out of your comfort zone is the ways that you will grow in ways that you wouldn't even have imagined. Like, if I talk to my 5-year-old self and say where I am now, I would be completely blown away because I never had that. That was never a dream of mine back then. But if there's something in the back of your mind that you're like, I really wish I could do this, I really want to do that, but I can't do it, take the limiting beliefs out of your head and start talking positively about yourself, whether that's with your confidence, how you look, or what you're doing with your life. Start really retraining and rewiring your brain to say, I can do this. I can become a businesswoman. I can get a promotion in my job. All of those things is what's going to lay out basically the blueprint for your life. So if you're trying to do something new, but you're afraid to do it, you just got to step your toes in the water. Like, it's always going to be cold, but if you just dip your toes in the water and you get right in, you'll ease your way into it. Just take baby steps, keep going, keep trying. Even if you fail, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. A failure is a lesson, not a mistake. You just learn from that lesson to move on for the future. And just challenge yourself in ways. You'll be so surprised how it completely transforms your mental health as well as your physical health, to be able to say, I didn't think I could do that, but I did it and I finished it and I did it well, and then try something else.
Yeah, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for coming on, friend.
Thank you so much for
I
having
appreciate
me.
Ya. Where can everyone find you? Where can they sign up to take a reformer class? Where can they sign up if they want to train with you?
Yes.
Give us all the deets.
So if you want to come take a group fitness class, I teach Lagree at the Megaformer Studio in Studio City. I'm at F45 Studio City if you want to do HIIT training. If you want one-on-one training, check out rkmethod.com. That is my website. I have a 4-week Tone and Tighten guide that you can do completely from home if you're looking for something to do, in the next 4 weeks to get ready for summertime. If you want one-on-one training, just reach out to me. I'm on Instagram as Rachkel, Rachkell.
Beautiful.
And you can find me on there. Look forward to hopefully training some of your viewers.
Yeah, let's
hopefully
go.
we inspired some people along the way.
Yeah, actually, one more question before we close
Yes.
up. You've been pretty active, like, on social media and stuff.
Content creation is a whole full-time job.
Yeah, so, like, I guess, like, how do you stay consistent with it? Because, like, it's really hard.
Oh man, it's tough. I'm still working on that. That's a
Sure.
work in progress, but I'm trying to get better of batching out my content so I don't have to do it every single day, because I'm such a perfectionist. So I'm critiquing every little edit on all of my posts, but I'm utilizing my resources, like find ways that you can easily create videos, which is a process in itself. It took me a long time to kind of learn how to edit videos, but try to get some inspiration from other people. Look what people are doing in your industry. Don't obviously copy them, but you can get some inspiration on ideas, and just write down everything you think of for content. If you have an ongoing list of content ideas, that'll help you when you're going to like edit a video or create some content. But yeah, it's a full-time job. So shout out any social media managers out there, because it is a tough job that takes a lot of time. And a lot of times now, since there's so many social media platforms, you need a person to do that for every single platform.
Yeah, it's hard getting all of them.
Oh, and they're all different.
Yeah.
Like, can we just stick to one? Back to the Instagram days where we can use the filter that they already gave you and just a quick short caption. Some hashtags.
We got to figure that out for balance. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're killing
I'm
it.
so proud of you too. I love
so
coming
much.
on this podcast and seeing Inspirit Bitters take off.
Yeah.
So
We're going to have you back on in the future, and I'm looking forward to seeing the growth.
Oh, yes.
All right, friends,
Sounds
go
great.
check Rachel out. All the links will be in the description. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Woo,
How was that, friend?
that was great.